Question? One question.
Hello, my name is Robert Lehman. I'm president of the Grenfell Campus Student Union, and I'd like to ask the following question. In recent days, the Grenfell Campus Student Union has engaged its Transform Transit campaign, which has received both involvement from the community and clear attention from City Council. However, part of the reaction to this campaign has been a negative backlash from the mayor. In short, this has been an attempt to divide students as a group from the citizens of Cornbrook, while this issue is a concern to many people in the community. How would you, if elected, act to engage students, community groups, and concerned citizens when faced with issues of this nature?
And I'm going to give that one to Gary first.
Well, I do a lot like I've been doing with you, Robert. I've already met with you once. I mean, we have a discussion on Facebook about this very issue in terms of integrating the students, into the community, because hopefully if the students are here in the community, they go to school here, they choose to live and work and play here afterwards. So I think it all comes down to dialogue and discussion. When I alluded to this the other night, when I lived in St. John's, I made it a point to be active in the off-campus. I lived on campus, but I also chose to live off-campus because I wanted to integrate myself into the community. And I was grateful for those people who lived in St. John's who wanted to integrate me into their community. And I think that that's what we have to do with our students right here. We have to reach out. We are competing, as I said the other night, with beautiful university towns like Acadia and Wolfville and St. Francis Xavier and Antigonish. So we really have to stand up as a city and welcome these students and embrace them and see what they want and involve them in the debate, involve them in the discussion, and make them understand that we really appreciate their involvement in our city. And that's why I reached out to you and the executive on the student council, because I fundamentally believe it.
Thank you, Gary. Alden? Sorry, you could have
I have to ask one further point of clarification, though. Did you actually meet with the mayor, or this has just been you say something, the paper reports it, he says something, the paper reports it, and...
I've had more meetings
sorry.
Let's feel
Our VP Academic, Brad Eboy, actually did have a chance to speak with the mayor, and actually a couple of our representatives did go to the public city council meeting, so we've tried to make that communication.
Yeah, but when you were at the public meeting again, you didn't speak though, right? You just sat there, did you actually have input, is what I'm saying?
Unfortunately, I wasn't able to be there, but I have other commitments in St. John's. But I know that our representatives were active in that meeting, and they were actually speaking with councilors and the mayor specifically after the meeting itself. So it wasn't so much that they weren't involved throughout the meeting.
Okay, so that's the point I'm trying to make here. So there's been no, shall we say, the two groups sit down at the table and have serious negotiations, and you put your demands on the table, they put their reply, sort of thing. Negotiations, I don't know what I call it, okay? So that has not happened, is what I'm saying. So there hasn't been that dialogue between the two groups. So it's been he said and you said and they said and we said, and I agree with you that and we discussed the transit the other night. But just to rehash a little tiny bit of it, that unless you get that put into the contract before it starts, it's going to be a heck of a struggle to try to get it included. You'll get it included after, but you're going to pay so much, it's going to be almost the same cost as the overall contract in the beginning. So it's got to be done now. So, and what is the rush? If it takes an extra 2 or 3 months to keep the contract going what it is, let's do it till we get it straightened out. We have beyond where the students are right now, as you know, there's going to be a new hospital eventually. So, all this can be incorporated in some kind of a routing system and looking after also incentives, as Gary says, to bring the students here, because, public transportation is a big factor when you're a student, unless you want to walk all the time, and if you're going to live and be part of the community, you probably want to live in Humbermouth or down in the Curling area, and you need busing.
All right, thank you.
So I hear where you're coming from.
Yeah, and we've openly said in the media that we would like to be involved in that process, that would evaluate it. So if it were necessary to extend the contract for a short period of time such that it could be reviewed, we would love to be on that. For example, if there were a public transit commission, if that were to be set up, we would love to have a seat on that and be able to be involved in that process.
All right, I would like to give June an opportunity to answer the question.
Thank you. First of all, I want to commend the students for bringing the issue forward, because I like you, was probably aghast with the comment that was reported in the newspaper, the response made by the mayor to the students. If we're going to have a community that listens to the citizens and the stakeholders of our community, we have to invite them to the table. We need to do some strategic planning. Now, this is a case in point where it's important that you are involved in the strategic planning of this because it directly affects your particular areas of interest. And I think that we need to engage in inviting the stakeholders and planning. And also, I'm really pleased that now that your level of activism, if you like, has elevated the awareness of everybody in the community because it applies not only to students, but we've mentioned it applies to seniors, it applies to people who want to be environmentally friendly and ride the buses. Many communities have free days, you know, where you have free transportation and so on, just to encourage people to take a bicycle or walk or use public transportation so that we minimize the environmental issue. We all know about that. But you've raised that awareness, you've elevated that awareness in our community, and I commend you for that. But I think that for other issues, and we don't know yet what they might be, but down the road, we need to have a process in place where we invite the stakeholders to the table to talk about their concerns so we avoid this kind of situation.
Thank you, June. Trent.
Yeah, good on you, good on you, good on the student union for, I seen the Transform It, application there, the online thing. Listen, you did raise a lot of awareness, and you know, I'll tell you, there is a process in council, and maybe council should have reached out to you and told you guys about it. Once a month, there's what's called a delegation meeting that you can have, and you apply to the city. You tell them delegation meetings are for groups of people that want to go in and talk to the city, and it's just a matter of applying. But not everybody knows that process, but it happens once a month on a regular basis. And maybe council should have reached out to you and told you, hey, guys, were you aware that that you can apply for a delegation meeting? And then that would have given you guys an opportunity to go in and sit down, right? And I think that would have been your avenue to do it. But you know, not everybody knows how it works. They should have told you. They seen the concern. You know, and I just want to say something that I should have said earlier tonight that I forgot. But you know, it's unfortunate with this transit system. I've been the first to say this is horrible, right? Horrible. It should be there. That transit system should never be cut. That's a social responsibility. It's just like that stadium up there, or wheelchair accessible buildings, or anything like that. There's no excuse for not having it there. It should be there. It should never have been cut. And I feel bad for those, you know, there's a few people here tonight, but there could have been a lot more. If seniors had to could have come up on the bus, and students, you know, but they got no way of getting home. That's a sad thing. I really think that's a sad thing.
Thank you, Trent. Make a good point. Tara.
Does Grenfell have a board of directors?
Yes.
And is there a student representative for the board of directors?
Yes.
That sits at council and stuff. Well, that's probably one thing, and I'm just wondering. I too was president of the student council, and we too dealt with the bus issue. And actually, I had a chance to speak with Bethany the other night about it because I had said, you know, there's a lot to kind of go through, and at the time there was a process that we had to go through, and there were some ideas that I had for you guys. And I had said to Bethany, if you would like to speak with that further, that would be fine. It has nothing to do with council, but just from, you know, one past president to present president. I would say that it would probably be a good idea, and I don't know if council would even agree with this, to have a student representative on council, or either that, and between the three post-secondary institutions. So you could either have someone elected, it would probably be a volunteer one, because you know, it's probably less likely that you're going to get paid for it, but that someone would actually be involved in council sessions, and then that would go back to, of course, the students. Also, with regards to the transit issue, are you guys being backed by your vice president and president of Grenfell?
Yeah, we've been backed by...
And like the same with Kona, same with Canada and all that stuff? Because personally, I'll let you finish the question, sorry. Go ahead.
Basically, from all the community members that we have within our campus, everyone's been generally supportive, and even people outside in the community, they've really reached out to us and said, thank you for making this such an issue, because it is an issue. Thank you for making it that everyone's so aware of it. So, I mean, we have support from generally everyone that we've talked to.
Okay. Well, because when we dealt with that on a first-hand basis, and I can talk to you a bit about this more, I don't even know what I'm talking about right now, but I can talk to you about that more because I've got some statistics here and things of that sort. But we had, you know, the vice president and the president, and we went to council chamber to meetings, we did presentations, and I mean, what it comes down to is dollars, really. And the only way that they're going to have probably increased routes and increased ridership is money. They need money, and in order to have all of that, somebody has to subsidize the transit system. And one of the things that we proposed at Loyalist College was to implement a transportation fee for all students, and it would be included in their student fee. And they would just use their pass, and there would be no transfers. It would just be, you know, I'm a Kona student, I'm a Renfrew student, and that's how it would work. The only thing is that had to go to a referendum to the whole student body, and unfortunately we did lose because that's what we wanted. Because a lot of most of the population at Loyalist, they were locals and they drove, or they all had cars. Because I had mentioned this the other night, it was like, this is Belleville. Brook is Belleville, and Loyalist College was actually a Massey Drive.
Okay, Sarah.
So we can speak on that later, because I've got lots of stuff to talk about it, because I've already been through it, but it's kind of boring for everybody else right now, I'm sure.
All right, and that pretty much sums up all